The city of Marietta has seen an increase in foot traffic in town with the Washington County Fair going on the past few days. Officials say it'll only increase with the Sternwheel Festival coming up this weekend. According to the executive director of the Marietta Washington County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Deanna Clark, the fair brings thousands of people to see different 4-H projects, rodeos, and other grandstand events. Clark says the Sternwheel Festival is the town's biggest event, showcasing what Marietta is all about. Clark adds these events attract out-of-town visitors to return to Marietta even when there isn't a big event.
When folks come in for our events, they actually fall in love with Marietta, and that makes them want to come back even when there isn't a festival going on. They just decide that they like our small town, and they realize how beautiful it is and how charming it is, and that makes them curious to find out what more there is to know about the area.
Clark says the Visitors Bureau loves to showcase what the town is all about when guests arrive in Marietta.